This week Channel Mum has asked us to talk about the early signs and symptoms of pregnancy, and because I've been pregnant 5 times, I'm going to give you a little guide to the kind of symptoms that I found as a real kind of indicator that I may be pregnant. For me, the actual #1 symptom I had from, I would say, about 2 weeks was a different strange taste in my mouth. And at the time, with my very first pregnancy, I didn't realise that there was actually a medical term. It's known as dysgeusia. I'll try and put the text on the screen as it's really difficult to pronounce. But I likened it to the taste of like an aluminium tin if you were drinking from a can of Coke. Some people describe it as the taste of money, like coins in your mouth. And basically it alters your taste and it's really strong. For me, the only thing I found that combated it or lessened the sensation of it was to use bicarbonate of soda to brush my tongue, because that neutralises the acid that is created with the hormones during your pregnancy. Along with my sense of taste being altered, I also found that my sense of smell was heightened, and this became really difficult because it took the enjoyment out of cooking. And I found that even cooking some of the dishes that I've made with the children before, such as spaghetti bolognese, cooking, the smell of the onions and particularly red meat was so strong and overpowering. And also, my husband used to laugh. I could just detect the smell really early on, such as if the kids had a dirty nappy, I could smell it straight away. So my sense of smell was heightened, and I think if that's coupled along with a feeling of sickness, it's a really tricky combination. My 3rd sign of pregnancy was tiredness. And I know that's a really common kind of symptom in just day-to-day life. Particularly if you're a busy mum or you've had a long day at work, it's natural to just want to collapse on the sofa. But what I found with the tiredness in early pregnancy, and I could differentiate between the normal day-to-day tiredness, was it just felt like you were really at your lowest and you're running on empty. And I remember in my later pregnancies, probably because I had more on with the young children, that if I sat down on the sofa, I just had this fear that I was just going to fall asleep. I just constantly felt at my lowest energy point, and I also felt I kind of lost that kind of spark or enthusiasm to get up and go. So early on, from as early as 2 weeks right through to about 10 weeks, I found I had a bit of a low on my energy levels and the tiredness kicked in. So the only thing for me was early nights and trying to make sure that I got all the rest that I could, which I know is easier said than done. My 4th symptom of pregnancy was nausea, and you hear loads of people talk about morning sickness, and I have to say that I was pretty fortunate that I only actually vomited probably, I would say, 5 or 6 times over the course of 5 pregnancies. But what I did suffer from was that real feeling of nausea, which is you actually feel like you could be sick, and I wouldn't wish morning sickness on anybody, but throughout that period I felt like I wanted the relief of being sick. For me, the nausea was worsened by travelling, so motion, and it's really tricky to try and keep your pregnancy a secret early on, because I think with nausea you don't look yourself, feel yourself, and your appetite can be completely affected. The last sign and symptom of early pregnancy I found was swollen boobs, and a lot of girls would complain that they were perhaps tender or sore. I didn't feel any of those symptoms, but I also don't get that in the lead up to a period. But what I did find was that they would definitely be very full, and I could noticeably see a difference. And if there was no weight gain and my period hadn't come, to me that would be a big major indicator that perhaps I was pregnant. So if you got to the end of the video and you found any of these signs and symptoms but haven't taken a test, my advice would be take a test now, and fingers crossed that you get the outcome that you would like. If you're interested in seeing more videos like these, make sure you hit the subscribe button to keep up with them, and thank you for watching.